Hello, everyone, and we are back today. I am joined by Ourospost. We will be discussing the trades in college and what is the best option for the majority of young Zoomers out there, young men, who are, of course, autistic because you're watching my channel, and
Correct.
Oros, if you're based.
Correct.
So that'll be our main discussion points. But, Mr. Oros, how are you doing today?
I'm excellent, man. Went for a hike before this, so you know, wonderful, wonderful. And also, just the wonderful news yesterday. I'm super hyped. So
Oh, yeah, it was a very excellent day. Very great to see. Love the memes coming
yeah,
out of it as well.
yeah, yeah,
Very epic.
yeah.
So let's get right into our topic today. You're kind of known for being advocating for people going into trades and getting skills like welding, electrician, plumbing, business, coding. So tell us about that. Like, why do you think that is the best option over the older
Um,
model of just going to college?
because something I've talked about a lot recently, though I've talked about this from the beginning, is the diminishing returns on getting debt. Just look it up right now. Marginal revenue product of debt. We are at the lowest time in American history since 1870. The chart goes back to where debt is. It for every dollar of debt created, it creates 23 cents of value. Whereas at the height, it was like 80 cents of value, which I think was 40s, 50s, 60s. So we're at a point where getting more debt literally is like it's the dumbest thing you could ever do. It's not going to bring you value, especially non-productive debt. So non-productive debt being, hey Spindley, being obviously like getting a car note. Like, don't get debt for a car. I know everybody, like literally, I think it's like more than 90% of Americans have car debt. So obviously, most people I'm going to be talking to or who will be here probably have debt in a vehicle, which I'm not going to shit on you for. Hopefully, it's a Toyota or something. But essentially, when you get debt, it means you not only are you're not only getting less value from it, but if it doesn't get you money, then you're basically going to be you're slowly chaining yourself to a dying economy, and as it pulls you under into the ocean. It's like as the Titanic is sinking, it's like saying, "Man, I should get a chain and lock myself onto the Titanic because I bet it's going to just magically come back together." That's what getting debt nowadays is. So the biggest issue with that, or the biggest example of that, is college debt. So if you go to college and you're not getting, you know, an engineering degree, and even then, it's like, I mean, I could get certain jobs that mechanical engineers, get out of college, and I didn't go to college. I went to trade school for 9 months. Um, but which also I would even say don't go to trade school. Like if you can get a job in the trades without, you got a connection, or you're just motivated and you learn something and you're able to take, like for instance, with HVAC, if you want to take the EPA universal test, so that you can work on any refrigerant, work on any unit, whether it be, residential, commercial, and industrial, go take that test, go pass, and go to some HVAC company and be like, I'm motivated. I'm willing to start, at the bottom with, $15 an hour installing stuff. If it means I can get a job. If you're that motivated, you're probably going to find something. And in certain states, you don't even really need any experience to start your business doing it. Like North Carolina and I think certain southern states, but I remember North Carolina because I wanted to move back there when I was 18, 19, because I got a friend there. It's a wonderful place. But it's you don't even need like a contractor's license to start an HVAC company. In Texas, you do, but or in order to get the contractor's license, it's a lot more lenient than here. So essentially, um, uh, yeah, Spindley, yeah, exactly. Compound interest is exponential, and it's what keeps poor people poor and rich people rich. Kids are not explained this in school. Yeah, I mean, Warren Buffett talks about this. But essentially, um, what young men need to be doing is, and I know like young guys who are 18 and they're going and getting a history degree. And it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to go be a teacher? What, you want to be a professor? I mean, it's like, I appreciate your dedication, like you want to be in the system or to, do something better in the system. I don't know. I honestly think it's a cop out. I honestly think guys who go to college who want to get those degrees are really just trying to they're honestly just trying to extend their childhood. That's all it is. I mean, I honestly see a lot of the military is like that nowadays too, because all you're doing is joining something so that you can get basically free boarding, free food, and no one's telling you to get a job. And the best thing you could do for yourself is to man up and get a damn job and get a skill. Because when we are, a big part of my philosophy is very much built upon the issue. By the way, hey Minoan, I'm glad to see you. Is collapse, right? When we're facing this trend of catabolism, even just with yesterday, Roe v. Wade being overturned is an example of a catabolic sort of decentralizing powers pushing against the centralizing powers. And so why in that world do you want to be useless? Why are you preparing to be someone built for this paradigm that our Gen X parents grew up in? Why do you think you're going to get what they got? So what you need to be doing is thinking ahead. What you need to be doing is, brushing up on some on some trade skills and getting useful. I think right now, I mean, I would say, there's usefulness in being a monomaniac and getting good at one skill, but I would just say get good at everything. If you can like, for instance, buy a fixer-upper house or a fixer-upper car and know how to work on pretty much everything, that's the best person you could be, because you'll always be useful. And it's not. I hate it when people say, "Well, you'll always be employed." It's like I don't care about being employed. I care about like never having to rely on somebody else for living. And so I honestly think that here, I'll send this to my Discord. I honestly think that there's no better time to arbitrage, the debt market by not getting debt and in fact becoming useful, because you know what? There's a shortage of useful people. So, yeah, don't go to college. Drop out of high school even. Like stop brainwashing yourself. Stop being brainwashed. Stop thinking that, if I get this certificate, if I get this credential, I'll be able to get this job. It's like, okay, great, but I mean, how long do you plan on having that fucking job? How long do you plan on things being okay until the next downturn, which we're already going into? I mean, like, what do you need to snap out of this, cowboy? Like, this is the issue. So many young men just they're too, they don't understand the adversity of an economic downturn. And it's going to hit them real hard when they don't have anybody or anything, and they're reliant and they're afraid. Like, that's the worst thing you could be, is afraid. Like, what's stopping you from being useful?
No, that's very accurate. With lots of young people getting into debt and going to college for these just insanely useless degrees like liberal arts or like becoming a teacher, which is just massive, a stupid decision at any rate, especially today.
Yeah, you're setting yourself up to be a pawn within that system. And it's like, okay, if you don't think that system's going to exist, or you think that system sucks, why are you capitulating and saying, well, it's time to just get a horrible, shitty job where I have to commute 2 hours into, a decaying city to go, especially as a teacher, to go basically corral a bunch of insane inner city children, and then go back to my shitty, horrible house in the suburb where I don't talk to anybody. Like, is that the world you want to continue living in? I mean, this is the thing. We're so stuck in this paradigm of thinking that, um, you know, uh, that we have to be indebted. People accept debt because, and I honestly think a lot of them are just fantasizing about a debt jubilee, and the government saying all college debt is forgiven. But then it's like, okay, that's great. If that actually, happens for you, I'm so happy for you. But now you still are useless. Now,
Yeah, you
not
don't have
only
any real
that,
life skills.
right, and not only that, you're going to work for less because you don't have a debt repayment to make. You're also going to be on par with other people who have, I don't know, they're more. Essentially, and this is just anybody who's a fan of the Austrian School of Economics will understand that when you, I mean, just the this is just basic economics. Actually, it's just too much of something means it is less. There's less value in it, essentially. And so when there is literally infinite supply of education, what's going to happen? The colleges are going to suck, and your degree will be useless. I don't know. Maybe you'll be able to say, "Well, I got a degree back when it wasn't free, and therefore I have a good education. Now pay me $100K a year and give me health care and a pension." And it's like, I don't know. I mean, we're at a point where there are so many people who, um, well, one, we're also not talking about like the elephant in the room is that most most college educations are for useless make work at an office where you do one, like you're basically the equivalent of pressing a button every hour or something. Like, make sure you press that button every hour and we'll pay you $50,000. That's essentially what you're doing out of college. A part of that is, the system we have is too complex. And so what happens when we just don't want, like, hey, we gotta say, all right, well, the guy who presses the button to make sure that computer works, or this one node of this network works, well, we got to fire him and just deal with the fact that we'll have a slower, less efficient system. But hey, we got to do it because we don't got money. We got to fire him. Because why? Well, we're also mounted in debt. This hypothetical company. And so, yeah, now your job that you got an extremely over specialized degree for, where you have to suck up to get another job and get paid just trash. Well, I mean, that's what economy you're getting into. Now explain to me why going to college is useful. It's not. There's nothing that you're going to gain from it at this point. That isn't going to just absolutely waste your fucking time. And if you want to pay $100,000 to go network, because your network is your net worth. It's like, I've go once again, job, internet. You don't need to spend $30,000 to $100,000 amassing a group of people at a shitty college that you probably won't even like. So yeah.
It's the same thing as like getting all your friends in high school, caring about the yearbook, stuff that just doesn't matter ultimately. It's the same thing with college, just for adults who want to be, man children,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes. Life is a series of compromise. I think all economic theories from 2019 or before are now absolutely fucking useless. Economics is dead. Tuesday, FA Tuesday. I've seen you before on my streams before. That is 100% correct. Being orthodox about any school of economics is totally and utterly meaningless at this point. There's nothing correct about that. Like, there's nothing correct about being an orthodox Austrian economy, because what do? All you do is just talk shit about the central bank all day. And it's like, well, no, the central bank doesn't do anything. So talking shit doesn't, I mean, it's not going to change the fact that you're wrong. But yes. Yeah. So I honestly think, yeah, I've benefited so much. I'm 23 and I'm not right out of college. I've been working a job in HVAC since I was 20, um, And I should have started when I was 18. I shouldn't have been goofing off. Because I would have been at this job for 4 years or more. Um, so it is it is it's pertinent to think about your time, because your time in your 20s um, needs to be dedicated to a thing or several things, several projects, and actually seeing them through to completion. And not like, I remember when I was a waiter, or when I was a cashier or a busser, how many people I knew who were twice my age, and they spent their 20s just being like all they did was party, all they did was do drugs, or fucking probably even worse than that at this point. All they're doing is sitting around playing video games. Like, th- what a way to waste the most important time in your life, right? Especially as a man, right? Women don't, I mean, women, the best thing they can do is have kids in your 20s. And if you don't, we'll get to it very quick in your 30s. But for men, it's like your 20s is the best time of your life, essentially, in terms of how you forming your identity, not only the way you see yourself, but other people see you. You're an adult now, so everything you do is either going to come back to pay you interest, or is going to come back to bite you in the ass. Um, and I think it's just such a shame that so many young men are wasting their time up until their late 20s or 30s wondering what to do with their life. Like, they went to college, they got a degree, and they're still sitting around lamenting, like, oh, I don't know what I should do. Huh. When I grow up, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. And it's like there's no consistency in their goals. And sometimes it does take, like, putting birdshot in your shotgun and firing and seeing what hits the target. Um, that's kind of where I'm at. But even then, it's much better to, like, just be a better shot and put a slug in and aim right at the middle of the target. And I've known guys on the dissident right who are blacksmiths who um, are or they just fucking work in IT. But I've met some, especially the meetups we've done. I've met more like salt of the earth types who have genuine skills. Go to tributoria.com, our website, and I actually have I added a couple dudes there who, like, there's 2 blacksmiths and a glass blower, um, and it's like um, I, I it's like that's such a fruitful, lovely skill to have, is being able to take something being able to take a raw resource and turn it into a capital resource, or turn it into something, turn it into a product. um you know you're you get such infinite um uh you know uh you get such an infinite spiritual return on that, because you're doing what you love, and you're making something beautiful and something useful. So yeah, it's like, what's in the overly specialized, financialized economy. Um, all we can do is uh, do jobs that, short of this financialized economy, you become utterly useless. You can't turn a wrench even. That's most people. I've done AC work at offices, numerous offices, and I see it. I see a lot of just fat, pudgy white dudes in their 30s with Star Wars toys at their desk, or these single women who have a master's degree and they're working in an office rather than having children. And it's just like, gosh, bro, I mean, do you want to work in this? Do you want to work in this your entire life? Looks like hell to me. Literally, people make their own hell. And this is just Sam Hyde wisdom right here. But it's like, you can make your own hell. It's really easy, and that's what it does. I mean, college degrees at this point is like constructing your own hell. When I was a waiter, most of the people I worked with in their early to mid 20s were in college, and they had, like, the attitude of an angry, regretful 45-year-old. Like that's how nasty, young millennials and older Zoomers are. Is they have like they're already capitulating any sense of optimism they have because they know that they're going to get a bunch of debt. They know that their casual sex lifestyle is um, the worst hell you could ever put yourself into, and it's cynical. I mean, once again, people want to talk shit about boomers. I'll talk shit about Zoomers and millennials. Like these, our generation is we are the worst people on the planet. Like we are just we expect everybody to do like we expect everybody to say sorry to us, and we expect like the world to gift everything on a fucking silver platter to us, even guys on the distant right. It's like, no, dog. No, no, no. Everything sucks, and it's your job to make it better, and nothing's ever going to look good for you in your entire life. You have to plant the fucking seeds and hope that they grow. Like, that's all you've got. To whine and bitch that you can't, you don't get to live the life that the boomers had. It's like, yeah, that's great. That's the truth. And you don't got time, dog. Get on it. Get useful.
No, yeah, that's very accurate. There's lots of useless eaters out there, as Klaus Schwab likes to say.
My boy
So if you don't want to
Klaus.
be a useless eater, do not go to college and get a liberal arts degree and get in
No,
debt.
right. Yeah, I know Klaus will love us. I mean, he'll will be. I mean, anybody who knows how to like maintain the exhaust fans they'll have to put in the gyms at these pod buildings that they want to put everyone in. They're going to have guys who know how to do that, and it's not going to be the people who went to college. The bug eaters um, are going to be the people who want to suck off of that system. But I mean, that's the funny thing is anybody who's useful for the most part, not that there aren't plenty of union guys and just like really pathetic blue collar dudes in the city who will totally capitulate to the Schwab system if that ever comes about in any shape or form, which I could totally see that happening in New York City or LA. But I think that a lot of useful people literally would rather just live off the land. Like that's what I'm planning on doing. Excuse me. Soon enough is hopefully with a friend or more friends, like buy land, and then don't be like a don't be like one of these. I've been reading. I know Minoan will like the stream that I do on this, but hermeneutics of ecological limitation. He spends like a bunch of this book, Chad Hagg. He spends like a bunch of this book just talking shit about the hippies and feminists who go out and create these eco villages and they still rely on the system. They still have their salary job. Like, no, go be like Greg Judy. Like be so self-sustaining and be so self-reliant that you don't have to rely on anything outside of your own creation. Make the make your carbon footprint as actually minimal as possible, because the more you do, the more you do rely on a system that hates you to take care
And
of
the
you. And
system is collapsing rapidly, so those
yes,
social security checks that many of those boomers depend on, that system can't go on forever. And that free money in the gravy train, as
yeah,
Aaron
yeah,
McIntyre likes to say, is going to run out. The gravy train.
yeah. I think the the I think that system that exists, that can only be maintained with assist like rich people, and we're literally going to have less and less rich people to go around. We're also just going to have less people to go around. Maybe not in the South now. Maybe not in the South. People, you're going to have your kids unless know how to use
Well, something
contraception,
you
which we
mentioned
should also
earlier
ban.
about this entitlement mentality that lots of younger people have, like millennials and Gen Z, as myself. I think it comes from our parents, especially our
Mm-hmm.
moms,
Mm-hmm.
who were that type of the soccer mom, who helicopter parents their kids. They're not allowed to go play outside past a certain time. You have to, get a
Yes.
pass to
Yes.
use the bathroom.
Well,
You
yeah,
get a
we had our
participation
generation.
trophy.
Our generation was very feminine and very helicopter mommy. You know, the boomers and to an extent Gen X, their parents were never there. They were off goofing around. Um, and for us, it was a lot more rigid. And you walk on this path to this place. Don't talk to any strangers. You know, uh, right. So everything was very, it was very feminine. It was very, peace oriented. Don't say that word. That's mean. Don't bring up that subject because it's offensive. And to any young boy who's a natural renegade and has testosterone, is not, I mean, like for me, that's why I couldn't last in school. Um, I was too, uh, I always liked breaking rules because I saw that. I didn't know how to put it into words or understand it, but I just saw like this I saw rigidity where there didn't need to be rigidity. It's like if you're with a girlfriend or just with a gal, and she's like, don't bring that subject up around him, he might get a little mad, and then you do, and the person you brought it up around isn't offended. That's something that's so common, is like, don't say certain things. It's got to the point where like you can't bring up certain subjects in public. Some people will get like, no, don't say that. It's like, what the fuck is gonna happen? I'm gonna get shot because I brought up a subject? Go fuck yourself. I mean, it's such a, there's such a lack of true masculine openness in our culture uh because of that upbringing, that like it's almost like the helicopter mom becomes the witch in Hansel and Gretel unknowingly, because she's so focused on feeding the child and making him fat, until it can be their forever child, especially single moms. I mean, the amount of men, I mean, at this point, it's like men in their 40s too, who like live with their parents or live with their mom. It's pretty astounding. I mean, it's not a too uncommon sight to see, and it's not because they take care of their family. Like Mexican families just all live together for a lot of the time, or Indian families. Um, it's not for that reason, for taking care of your own. They just live with their parents because they were given absolutely no spiritual vision their entire life. Like, yeah. So, and once again, it's because they weren't told, get off your lazy ass, get a job, provide to the family, get a skill, you know, and they were just told to go to college, if at
Well,
all.
yeah,
But if they're
it's
told,
feminine
but yeah,
advice. It comes from the
yes,
female,
because you'll be
especially
safe.
because
You'll
most,
be
yeah.
you'll be in the womb still, because you're still within the womb when you go out to college. There's no scary world. It's still, especially now, it's utterly feminine. I mean, everything is made for like ugly fat girls, almost like that. That's the way the system is made. It's made for sensitive, disgusting, ugly people that nobody likes, but you have to kowtow to their feelings because they might tattle on you. Like, that's how college is now. And it's like, this is not education. This is not like useful for your time. Like, once again, it one thing young men need to get out of their like thick heads is the process that you think you need to make to become successful. Everything you know about that, throw it out your fucking head. Everything is really hustling. Everything is a hustle. You have to learn how to capitalize your time. You have to know how to do things that will bring about interest down the line. You have to know how to make friends with people who are not just going to be wanting a popularity contest. Genuine friends. You have to know how to think purely for the long term, and the very long term is not you getting a job at a fucking skyscraper in the big city and getting a good job and living in the suburb with your family. No, that's not the future. So what's funny is People who think they're planning ahead when they get a college degree, they're actually not. They're planning for the next maybe 5 years. They're planning for, if they're a woman, they'll probably, it depends. Women have a lot better chance at getting a job than men do in this economy, because it's oriented towards them. If you go work any job that is not in the trades, and even then, if you work in a union, you'll probably deal with women. But luckily, I'm in Texas, so there's like no unions here. But if you're going to get a job that's not freaking turning a wrench, you're going to be working with women, and they're probably going to be your boss. And from experience, I can tell you, everything about it is unhealthy. I mean, from the social, sexual dynamic between men and women in the workplace is depressing. Whenever I see it, I'm astounded. I'm almost like my jaw is to the floor at how people pretend this is healthy. So if you want to be a man and you want to be ultimately attractive to women down the line, like I would say, if you want to be a dad while also being very proactive, it's not going to happen for anybody who's on the dissident right, who's our age, because they're just too focused. Like, I really do mean this. They're too focused on big things. If you live in a small world and you have access in your community to women, I mean, you could probably make it work out. But honestly, for anyone who's trying to be entrepreneurial at this point or take big risks, like if you saw my house at this point is just full of shit either dedicated to the business I'm trying to start, or like fucking government paperwork or stuff I've written down for, for my channel, or it looks like a schizophrenic's house. And it's like, I'm not going to, this is not copacetic with having a relationship. So like something like young men have to start like realizing is, in order to plan for the future, not only don't go to college, take big risks, but like women are not going to be, they're not going to be even in the top 5 things you think about. And if they are, you need to, be monomaniacal, go be a plumber, and hopefully live in a small town, because that's the only place you'll find good women, at least in Texas. But again, it's like the worst thing, like so many people who get married they marry their coworker. So you met your wife at an already broken world, the anti-spiritual world, the anti-cultural world. And, not that can't be copacetic, but it's like, you're already starting off from like a rough start, dog. And, the way things are right now, I mean, what is it? 60% of women are on birth control over the age of 19 or whatever. I forgot what the number was, but like the majority of women are either going to be on birth control or SSRIs. So it's like you live in a time where the best thing you can do is almost be Nietzschean. Be Nietzschean in your sort of drive towards doing, like, achieving your goals. Not to say be your own god or make your own morality, but take that mindset of, I don't have time. I don't have literally, I'm running out of time. I have, for me, I have 7 years, 7 years until I am now old. And if I want to switch my career up, which I won't have to, but even if I do, it's going to suck. It's going to be like, I will be so set in stone. I've noticed this as I've gotten older too. Like, being 23 is almost, I feel like it's the first step towards, like, now you're not a kid, but you're still young. So people still treat you like a kid, kind of, especially since we live in a country of old people. And 23-year-olds are all man children. But still, I feel like I'm at that step where I feel as if I'm being more consolidated and cemented as who I am, and my opinions aren't changing. And the way I see the world is becoming a lot more concrete and less flighty. Whereas 3 years ago, every new opinion I saw, I would like try and acquire it so I could taste it. I wanted to taste it and see how it went. I wanted to think about certain, like, I got into cars when I was 18. Normally guys who like cars get into it at a really young age, but um, I wanted to taste the different skills, the different things that you can do with your time. Um, and so I have like a running knowledge of a lot of things, not a decent, not even a, like an amateur knowledge, but I know how, I know the basics of a lot of trades, especially since HVAC means you have to kind of know like electricity and plumbing, um, and airflow dynamics and shit, like that's what I focus on. Um, but even like it's like I'm not an engineer. I'm not someone who's mathematically inclined. I mean, I'm not bad at math. I just don't. I would never make it my career. It's something I could just do, and I think uh, I think being reasonably well rounded has allowed me to have a lot more confidence about my ability to take care of shit without somebody else doing it for me, and being able to operate in an economy that will become a lot more DIY. That's something you have to start preparing for. Is like you're not you're not gonna find somebody to do something without paying an exorbitant price, and it's not gonna be as quality as it used to be. But also you don't have access to the same resources. For instance, like Car Wizard just made a video about how he had this Lamborghini he was working on, and he couldn't get this this valve that forever he could get that part, but now he had to go buy it used because they stopped manufacturing it. And so, you're starting to go into a world where there's less and less for the stuff that you need. Because I'm not getting an electric car. I'm not getting a car that's new, because I don't want to rely on the horrible state capitalist system, and it's not going to last. So once again, stop preparing for nothing. Make yourself utterly be able to know, like, at least point to shit on a car and be like, that's that. At least I know what to replace if this is happening. So yeah, but yeah, a big sort of failure of just the economy at this point is sort of the death of masculinity, the over financialization and over specialization of everything, and people thinking that um, in order to like have a good job, you need to be credentialed, and uh, you know, it's almost being blue collar is like this. You're an idiot if you're blue collar. You're a failure, um, and it's like it's not like you're a failure if you went to college and you got an office job. Like you're fucked, bro. Like what do you have? Like your life is hell. So I just don't understand. Like you need to start uh like you need to start realizing that you need to be able to take care of yourself in a time of uncertainty and cannibalism. So yeah, I didn't know Tuesday lives in Texas. That's cool. Um,
Yeah, our favorite doomer who lives in Texas. He can be a little bit of a doomer sometimes, but I like him.
yeah, yeah.
Another problem we see with the college people, let's say, they go to college, and they get a really good degree. They don't get the stupid one. You're one of the very few people who do that now. They get the degree, they get that really nice office job that pays 100K per year, which is very rare now. And they're just miserable, and they're not responsible with money too. It's like I've known a lot of people in my family who had great jobs, but because they're not responsible with money anyway, they're still poor and they lose that job, and then their life just comes crashing down. That
Yeah.
college degree and all that debt to acquire was just useless.
Yeah, there were a lot of white collar jobs that were lost when the tech bubble popped. A lot of guys had to change their career in their 30s or their mid late 20s from being working at an extremely indebted bullshit tech company to going and doing roof work, or even just like um, you know, working in a kitchen or something, being, working as a line cook, um, which is more useful than a lot of office jobs. And um, yeah, I think the guys who get jobs, for instance, like if you have an engineering job or something and it does pay like 100,000, there are salespeople who don't have a college degree who make way more than $100,000 a year. And I would say sales is the most important skill you could ever develop in your life. Um, because no matter where you go, you have to be personable and you have to know how to approach people. And if you don't have that skill as a man, you will never make it because you will be capitulating to whatever offer you can get. If you know what you're worth or you can get something better, you know that, but also know how to walk up to some old guy and be like, you need someone to do this, or hey, I noticed this. I noticed that your roof was you got some shingles missing and it's kind of dirty. You want someone to take care of that. Like you got to be able to like sell a hustle to somebody. And if you can't sell yourself as a good worker or as a skilled tradesman of some sort, you're not going to be you're always going to be a bitch. You're always going to be capitulating to whoever will give you a shitty, mediocre job. And those kinds of people are like the bystanders who do nothing when a woman's being kidnapped. They're the same kind of people who, when the government says you got to take you got to take the medication, sorry, they will be the first one to take it because they're like, oh, I want to keep my job. Like they have so. Like no, if you're not that or you don't see yourself as that, own it. I mean, that's the thing too. Is like, obviously, if you're like paralyzed from the neck down, I can't tell you like through sheer, Nietzschean might you can become unparalyzed. But what I will say is like, if you can speak and you don't smell bad, um, go do sales. You know how to like dress decently. Go sell your know how to sell yourself because that's where guys make it. And like for instance, even though I would say used car sales or just car sales in general is the most predatory, horrible job you could ever have, they make six figures. They make a bunch of money during decent economic times. But even then, it's like if you, and I could do this, I just would hate my life, and I'd probably like have a heart attack from how much stress it would cause because I I've known people and I know how car sales works and I know how sales works, but I've known people who work in car sales and I remember someone close to me, he told me how like I asked him like what was the worst car you ever sold to someone? What was like the deal you felt the worst about? And he said he sold a Fiat 500 to some grandma who was almost like looking for her last car to buy, and he sold her a Fiat 500. And if you don't know, yeah, Fiat 500s are piles of shit. But they're Italian, they're cute. Women like them, especially single women or widows. And but they're utter dog shit, and they're not going to last a year. And even if you maintain them, and he was like, I don't know why he did it, but he was like he had to do it, like where he had to make meet some kind of quota, and he just felt like shit afterwards because he's like, that's going to be the horrible car for her. It should have been like a Honda Fit or something because that will last 15 years, but not a Fiat 500. But yeah, that's the thing is you
Probably
got
won't
to
last
be
down the driveway. It'll probably
yeah,
fall
and
apart.
then it'll be 99% less than what she bought it for. um it'll be scrap. It'll be scrap metal even. So yeah, I think what do we got here? Um okay, cool. So I think um yeah, so if you know how to sell yourself, that's the best thing you could ever do. I mean, I would say I'm still getting good at that. In terms of like if I do need to knock on a door and sell something to somebody, um because there's always a layer of bullshit, but if you're doing something useful, it's okay. It's like, okay, well, at least I'm selling a useful thing that will benefit this person's life. Right? If you're selling, again, a skilled trade, if you're not just selling like bullshit, like I don't know, fucking flood insurance or something, flood insurance in Oklahoma, or something that would be bullshit. So yeah, I think being extroverted is extremely important if you're a man. You know, every avenue of your life that will be made extremely easy, better, and you'll feel great about yourself if you just know how to walk up to somebody and talk, and especially sell them something. If you know how to do an elevator pitch, because it doesn't matter, for instance, if you're starting a business, if you have somebody you can employ, which is really rough these days, you can't find anybody. But if theoretically, if you could, even if you didn't know how to do anything, and you could be like, oh, okay, well, you'll pay me $1,000 to do this. Well, I'll go hire somebody for $300 to do it. It'll be $100 or $200 in expenses, and I get to pocket $500 by just being a good salesman. Like, if you can do that, you are unstoppable. And so it just adds on to it when you know how to do something useful. So, you know, whatever you're selling, you should be knowledgeable about and know how to do it. Not just for liability purposes, but for, the salvation of your own soul. But yeah, it's like be a force of nature. Be like your boomer grandparents who just love life. Like, that's the way to do it. Like, you got to be perpetually white-pilled. You got to know that no matter what happens, you can fight through. You don't rely on somebody. You can make shit happen. That is the attitude to have no matter what. Because if you're doing the right thing and if you're a good person, then God's ultimately looking out for you. If not, you're if you're relying on yourself, and this is why, Jesus Christ should play an important role in the decisions that you make. If that's not there, you're left to your own power, and you're ultimately you're gonna run out of steam really quick, and you're gonna think you're utter shit. You're gonna look at yourself and think you're dog shit, and you won't get anything done. The only way you get something done is by like knowing you have to be bound for something better, and the actions that you take are going to be, bringing glory to God. So yes. Hey, it's DC Perspective, baby. What's up?
Oh yeah,
Glad to see you in chat.
Yeah, I think another thing that you're trying to get at here is that you need skills to actually be a useful person and to do something that matters, instead of working in the sales department of
Yes.
I don't know, Mugs Incorporated. Like, that's not going to be a useful job once Mugs Incorporated goes in debt. Being a
Right.
sales.
Well, yeah, being a salesman for yeah, exactly. I think Huey Long was a salesman. And I think about like guys who they were almost like, even in like rough economic times, could still be, larger than life, and were able to sell themselves. But when you do go through a recession, who are the first people to be laid off? Sales. Like you can't lay off accounting, you can't lay off, maybe you'll lay, like, based on the amount of money you're dealing with, sure, you'll lay off someone in accounting, but like sales, they take the first hit, because if you have no one to sell to, you're paying a guy to do nothing all day, if at all, to just do make work. I think a good example of make work, by the way, I think everyone saw this. It went viral on Twitter. It was like a TikTok. It was this these two good-looking gals at a swimming pool at like a country club or something, and they were doing like work on their laptops like outside of the pool, and this chick was like saying, like, she was asking like, so what do you do? And they're basically like explaining the most bullshit jobs in the world that they have, and that's why they're at a pool working on laptops doing nothing. I remember when she asked her friend, like, what do you do? This chick took a second to like try and put into words what she does for a living. And that's most people's jobs. And if you're a man going to work in that, man, you're a cuck.
That's
So
really saying something today because most men are very weak and feminized. That is a byproduct of course, our Gen Xer parents, and they were raised by the Boomers. So that's kind of a
yes.
fault of our parents for raising us like this. But
Yeah,
we
once
do play
again,
a part in it as well.
boomers are, we all know the issues with boomers, but the defining trait of Gen X is that they are cynical and self obsessed and self indulgent. What boomers are self obsessed and self indulgent, but in a more like childish way. Gen X, they do it because they like almost hate themselves. Um, so that's why, like, I think like if you're raised by like, I remember Sam Hyde made this point, like millennials and Zoomers, they're raised by like two generations that are just totally checked out. Like we're raised by dads who um, don't know how to be dads. That's probably the main issue with like the men we were raised by. Regardless if you love your father and have a good relationship, there's still that issue. Like he was not there. He was not, most of the time, most dads were just not there to be a masculine, a world image of masculinity, if that's the right phrasing there. Like most men are just like just capitulating, they're enjoying their libations, and maybe they'll go fishing every now and then with you. That's kind of what you're dealing with as a boomer, or as a millennial, or especially a Zoomer. Like Zoomers, their parents who are millennials or who are Gen X, like early millennials, their parents are totally like fucking checked out. They are um they don't know how to be parents anymore. It's almost like their image of being a parent is like the ad on, YouTube that you see of being parents. Like they don't know how to be organically genuine. So they don't know how to sit their kid down and tell them like you know uh the talk, or you know um to give, like, actually bring about some kind of spiritual experience for their children. Everything is very proceduralized in parenting these days. And so, like, if you want to be a good parent, the first thing you can do is you know take the technology away from your kids and be straightforward with them, be firm, be honest. You know like, bring them, like, I remember Dave the Distributist, um he was asked by Pete Budapest, who's very frequently sending him super chats. He asked him, what are you going to tell your son about, like, this, about, like, how are you going to, like, teach him why everything is so fucked up? And he just kind of said, like, he just kind of gave the exact speech that I would give my own son, if and whenever I have a son, is that, like, yeah, we were self-indulgent, we fucked up the world, everything is pretty much made for selfish people, and what I'm trying to do for you is bring you a world that's separate from that, and that brings glory to God. And if that is something that's kind of, with less cuss words obviously, but if that's instilled in their mind at a young age, they're going to be a lot better off than we were. I mean, um, drug addiction, porn addiction, and just like self-esteem issues are rampant among our generation, and that's why we're so fucked in the head. We don't even know how to talk to each other. It's like really, really embarrassing how
And I don't think the internet
um
helps out with that because most of us
no.
lack social skills with talking to
Hmm.
people. We don't even like go outside. Most young Zoomers I know
Yeah,
are
yeah.
on
I
Discord
think,
all day.
yeah, yeah. That's why everything needs to be focused on getting out. We need to start making a move that separates ourselves from the internet, if at all, to use the internet as a means to make the tangible happen. If the internet is purely just a place to sit and whine, me and a friend went to a Discord, like a conservative Discord chat or something, to just like listen to people chat, because there's probably a bunch of teenagers, or, like, God forbid, people actually in college, and just like not working. All they do is sit around and just lament. And it's like, dude, like, and I don't blame you because your parents are probably, again, totally fucking mentally checked out. But like, you shouldn't be talking like this. You shouldn't be talking like, man, everything sucks. Um, they don't know, like, all they know how to do is play video games. Like, dog, there's so many avenues for you to just go meet people who agree with you. Like at this point, there's literally no reason to not be making big decisions with people who are in your, dissident right spheres to create the tangible, to make, um, an actual uh, interface with the real world. Using the internet to connect with people is so important at this point, and it even extends into, I think we should do like trade workshops and skill workshops, because young men need to be exposed to other traditionalist, reactionary um, men who can teach them things and like show them, like, because what would blow a lot of like 20-year-old fucking morons who are in college, what would blow their mind is if you had like a 35-year-old guy like show them like
Works in the
knives
oil
that
field and makes 100K per year without any debt.
yeah, right, yeah, or even just the guy who's just makes cool knives, is super chill and super cool, or like belts, right? My friend made this amazing belt, and to just like to have that young guy ask them like, how'd you do this? Did you go to college or did you go to trade school? And the guy will just be like, no, dude, I just like I apprenticed. I knew a guy, or I went and talked to somebody and they employed me, or I got an internship. Yeah. And now I've been doing this for 15 years. And what are you doing? um, like that's what a lot of young men need. Like that's really what blows their fucking mind. And another thing too is like, don't surround yourself with young men who are useless or who LARP. Surround yourself with young men who their entire life's goal is to be self-sustaining, is to bring glory to God, is to be useful, and is to have a community that is cut away from as much evil as possible. Those people exist, and if you don't know any of them, you're in the wrong circles. Oh, there's Mutant
Yeah,
in the chat, by the way. He's my favorite, my favorite schizo, Hegelian schizo. Sorry, go ahead.
we love our fellow schizos, don't we? A lot of us
Yes,
are one, actually.
correct.
So I think what you're trying to get at some very important points here for most young men. They need like actual leadership from a man who actually knows what he's doing, has some real life skills. Maybe he's an electrician, maybe he's a plumber, he has his own business. There's lots of people
Yes.
like that actually, and they're making tons of money every year. They're actually doing something that's decent work. They're not working an office job doing maps or something.
I know a friend who has helped made or who I would say has made Tributoria, and he's been AWOL purely because he has two jobs, like working on like right wing websites, and then he is also doing like small electronics manufacturing, or like small manufacturing for like of basically this studio, this movie studio that he's gotten in contact with, that I think is also conservative. He's like making stuff at home with like 3D printers, a CNC, like, and he went to college, but it's been useless to him. Um, and that's the kind of mindset we need to be having. And Jacob, um, that's his name. Like, he is a prime example of how people, like, how young men need to be acting. um and I got like, I recommend this book. He actually recommended this book. He's fucking great. Everyday Woodworking. Buy this book. It's like fucking what, $12-15. It's nothing. And it's literally just like steps. Like, so you want to learn how to woodwork and you've never picked up a tool in your life, basically. This is like what every man should buy. And I literally bought just recently $200 worth of tools specifically for woodworking that this book is dedicated to. I'm just going to start doing that because why not? I don't have to go to college for it. I have the internet. And if you know, like, again, if you know people, like, start using your network to your advantage. And let's see if our friend is
I feel like most
messaging.
people though my age like just need to like the first thing they need to do is just get off Discord and Twitter and like
Yes.
start going outside and meeting people, actually like talk to real life humans. That's the first step
Yeah,
most
but
people
get
need
on.
to take.
I would say Basket Weavers has been such a great thing. I and a friend on there have been able to take that from being totally just nobody using it to like it being an active thing that we all do. So like get on Basket Weavers on Discord because that's literally just a way for you to meet people who are very proactive. And everyone I've met on there is, one guy or a couple guys are in college. One of them, he is getting a completely fucking useless degree, but I still love him. And then another guy is actually graduating and he's getting a decent job. But everybody I've met, like, it's the first time I've actually met people who have that political autism. But it's like I've been to libertarian shit. Like I know how awful it can be. Even conservative stuff is like that. Like nobody knows what they're doing or what they're going to do with their life. Basket Weavers it's already kind of inherent. Like everybody wants to be useful. There is a goal in mind. But even then, yeah, start touching grass. If you aren't, never spend a day inside. If you can't help it. Um, you know, if you live somewhere where you have neighbors that aren't degenerates, that's also another thing. Like start, even if they are, like, be good to them. But like if you can start, just like go make food and bring it to a neighbor and see what happens. You know, Also go to church. Um, but yeah, I do have a show in apparently 20 minutes, but the guy who will be on is several hours ahead of us, and I think he is still sleeping. So I'm gonna have to push that ahead and then talk shit about him later. But I do think I've rambled enough. I think we've gotten. Is there anything else you want to touch up on? Or
Maybe just like one last thing.
Yes, go ahead. No, yeah, I got time now because he's not showing up.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll see what
definitely.
happens.
So
Yeah.
you would just say like just like get skills and get into a trade is just the better option for most young men. Like any of the trade that you find interesting and passionate about. Because some men like
Yes.
electricity, some men like, I don't know, maybe starting their own like local business or something like that.
I I
More
um
entrepreneurial.
I think if you don't have any passion, like when I went and studied HVAC, I didn't do it because I was passionate about HVAC. I did it because I could get a job that pays me good money and I don't have to work around women. It's as simple as
See,
that.
we do have our based incels in the audience, of course, but
Well, I mean, I hate that that's a word, like that incel is a word. Well, I guess people who call themselves that are like really have fucking mental issues. But no, yeah, like working around women is poison. Don't do it. Go turn a wrench. Get fucking muscles. Learn what like working on a roof in 105 degrees in direct sunlight for hours straight feels. Like if you don't know how that feels, you're gonna have a rough time in the future when like you're gonna have to do that at some point. For all like it it's it I think what we're experiencing is, and I'll get exactly on my philosophy here and why I think everybody needs to do this is we have reached diminishing returns on investment in complexity. We have reached diminishing returns on investment into debt. We have reached a point where the global economic paradigm that has existed since 1945 is going to fall apart. We have reached a point where GDPs of pretty much every nation on the planet has been flat since 2008. Global GDP per capita since 2011 has been flat. We have reached a point where the narrative within America has become so satanic that you can't even take your kids to school anymore. You can't take your kids into a city. Where do you think, we have reached a point where we literally like we think the suburb is the best place to be, and yet you don't know any of your fucking neighbors. You pay all this goddamn money to get a house that's ugly as shit. You're not going to have it for longer than 10 years, and you're just buying it to flip it, essentially. Everything is financialized, and everything is, at this point, a diminishing returns on that financialized economy. So there's literally no reason to go to college. There's literally no reason to learn anything that doesn't make you directly useful, where you can take your skill or take the experience you have and apply it to something that makes you more useful than other people. So yes, learn a skill, not only because the workplace is poisonous, but because you will be leagues. And that doesn't just mean, being, working in a trade. That's just the easiest way to become useful, because you can take the skills and the endurance that you develop in that, and apply it elsewhere. Being out in the field is a lot better than being in an office or working from home. But yeah, goodness, nothing was more freeing than when I got to work around a bunch of bros. I didn't have to watch my language. I got to get a good workout. I know what pain feels like, and I can take my skills, or whatever experience I've gained in different avenues, because I am gray collar. I do computer work, but I don't have to work in an office. And I get to transfer that elsewhere. And so it's a freeing feeling. It's a very freeing feeling. Even with my job, since we travel so much, I don't have to live in the city. I can go live in a small town, which I do, and I can go buy property in a small town further away, and I can still make it work. I might pay more on gas on certain weeks, but it's still gonna be much better than the hell that corporate America puts you through. So
It's
yes,
also less demasculating for you when you have to work at corporate America as a man.
yes.
It's very
Oh, dude.
demasculating as well.
Yes,
Which I
yes,
think is a
yes.
big reason why we're in this mess in the first place, is men not being
Yeah.
masculine.
Yeah, not being able to just say fuck you. No, I'm not doing that, sorry. But yeah, that is probably one of the worst things about America, especially just with how fat everybody is too. Like, people are truly afraid to be themselves at this point, like actually not in the
The gay
individualistic,
sense, but
in the
yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, in the gay way, but literally like being yourself, being a man, like saying what you mean and meaning what you say, and being steadfast in your approach, being steadfast in your opinions, telling people that treat you like shit, there's the door, like, you don't have to take shit. The people that, for instance, taking shit from a
HR.
shitty, from HR, that kind of shit. Yeah. HR shit, you don't have to take that. Whatever. Go tell them to go fuck themselves. Taking shit from like a guy who's saying, no, you fucking did that wrong. That is important. Take that shit. That's good shit. I like that shit. So learn to be masculine. Seriously, because none of us know how to. I had to learn to be masculine. I don't even know if I'm there yet. But
We have to be taught because we were raised by our
yeah,
mommies. Most of
we
us,
were raised
they
by
were
our
raised by their
mommies.
single mommies, so
Yes,
we're
we
very
were raised by our
girlish
mommies.
boys.
We were raised by teachers unions. Um, we were raised where we were punished when we were boys, when we would beat the fuck out of each other, when we would say, "Get out of my face, bitch!" Like, whenever we would try to be tough, we were instantly smacked for it. Like, no, that's bad. You know
Yeah,
what's good?
you go to
Sitting in a
detention.
chair. Yeah. What they say is better is sitting in a chair and doing nothing all day and staring at a whiteboard or smartboard or a chalkboard, whatever part of the era you met. Because I got to experience all three. But yeah, it's time to rethink your approach to being successful, because maybe acquiring debt that's non-productive is not worth your time. So anyway,
That's very
I
true. Very true.
yeah,
I wish most people would like just learn this one thing, but you're not taught it. Your parents like won't teach you how to actually be financially
yeah, it's
successful.
it's you have to take more and more debt to get shittier and shittier jobs with shittier and shittier pay. It's really mind-boggling that people can't look at the numbers. Like literally for the last 10 years, being able to just know my entrance into the workforce after this degree is going to suck ass. I don't know how no one can get this through their thick head. Like you're not going anywhere with this. If you want to have a shitty office job and make good money, learn to code. Don't go to college. Learn to code. You know,
Learn
um,
something useful that will last.
yeah, you
Basically, is
know,
the entire message that you're trying to say. Learn something
yeah.
useful. Don't be a
Well,
useless eater. You know,
something wholesome and perennial. Yeah, like something truly perennial, because that's where trades become useful. Like being a carpenter, or being a blacksmith, or being a
or a
bricklayer.
builder.
Hmm. Um, and you can do that all by yourself. You'll probably hurt yourself a lot, but it's worth it. Because those trades are ultimately the beginning. They're the starting point of any other trade. Um, Anything that you use in, you know, I would say like plumbing, carpentry, um, those two are the starting point for every other trade possible, because what you're going to learn mathematically, tool wise, um, everything will kind of be this jumping off point from that. And I wouldn't say, like if you can be an electrician, do it, but it it's really fucking dangerous, and I'd probably kill myself because I'm a dumbass, and I learn from my mistakes normally. So I've also been electrocuted a couple times, and I'm not even an electrician. I just deal with electricity and really old equipment sometimes that will arc over and fuck your day up. But yeah, Tuesday says fuck coding. I mean, I'm boomer brained. I can't. I don't have the brain for that, and I think it's hellish looking at a screen all day. It sounds like pure hell. But I know people who make a lot of money, and all they have to do
If
is
you have the
like,
talent for it, do it. Like
yeah,
whatever you're
if you're smart,
talented at, do it. Yeah.
yeah, like if you're mathematically inclined and very smart, that's what you can do that. But most people aren't really cut out for that stuff. I don't think I am.
No, most
I know
people
how to
should just be
build.
plumbers.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Most people should just be like, that's what you're cut out for. You're not cut out to be the button presser at an office building. You don't want to be cut out for that. Um, you know, uh, it's truly wholesome. Once again, it just goes back like my main compunctions with working anything that isn't like wholesome, or where you're around, you know, where you're going to be have a useful skill. You're working around women. I think that's the worst part. Men are not meant to be working with women. There has to be a separation from the feminine, because masculinity needs to be able to grow and become legitimate. And anytime you introduce a woman to it, the social dynamic of men, it fucks it up. You can't have the feminine voice. Even if it's one woman and there's 20 men, it already screws it up. You can't have that, because it instantly turns bros into competitors. You don't have the same conversations. You don't have the same energy. You don't have the same bro, solidarity, and you're not getting shit done. Um, yeah, going to the gym with women is subversive. Plum
Yeah,
pill.
it turns into a simp, honestly,
It does. It
when you
does.
introduce women
And
to
I'm not.
male spaces.
Yeah, I was never made for that shit. I simping is a specific kind of flirtation, because you're not looking to do anything except take advantage of a woman, and that's just not good. Nothing should be about like having sex for the sake of having sex, or nothing should be about, you should know how to talk
Pleasure
to
for
a
the sake
gal.
of pleasure, yeah.
Yeah, for the sake of pleasure. You should be seeking a woman who will have your children. So if that's what you're looking for when you try and court a woman, and it's not suggestive and awful and disgusting, then I mean, yeah, go off, King. But you're not. I mean, that has its own place and time, and becoming useful is separate from that. You need to be able to be like, I've got a business or I've got a skill, and that's what attracts the woman because she knows you're competent. But in the workforce, you are a woman when you work with women because now you're doing the thing that she knows how to do. You are a bitch. You are not. Um, you're essentially either her gay friend or someone that is like casual sex. You're a cylinder for the whole, and that's not what you should be to a woman. You should be someone that she loves, and there's that mystery, like, oh, he does this really well. And I see this because I do so many jobs at places where I see men and women working together, and I see this dynamic where a man should be being a man, and it's gone. And I feel sorry for them, even if they make way more money than I do. Which also, again, they all have debt and they all fucking drive a Mercedes or something, so they ultimately make less than I do. But um, I see that dynamic, and it's just not good. It's like I would rather live under a bridge and be like a hobo shoestring, whatever that guy is on YouTube, the guy who's a literal hobo and goes around being a hobo. I'd rather be that guy than working in an office building with women. Yeah. So that's the ultimate thing. Masculinity can't exist without actually allowing it to grow. Femininity gets in the way of that. There's a place for femininity in your life. So
But there
yeah,
must be boundaries, I think.
there
For
has
these
to,
things,
yeah.
there has to be
There's a
boundaries.
place for everything. There's a time for everything. This is straight out of Ecclesiastes, right? I not everything should happen at once, and not everything should be together. There's a beauty to separation. There's a beauty to prudence, you know? Um, and the workplace right now, that's the funny thing. Me and my buddy, Ebino, who was on the stream last night, um, he, he and I were talking about how like this office building he works at now, it has like a gym, it has like all this shit, and it's like it's the place of the home and the place of work. It's actually taken the home, put it at work, this place that there is no spirituality or love or family, but it's a mockery of it all. It's wearing the skin suit of family. It's wearing the skin suit of masculinity in a way, because there's the gym, you can go work out after work, when you go for lunch or something, because you never have to leave. That's what it's like. I mean, that's why Japan sucks, because they literally have that. What country has destroyed masculinity more than Japan? Um, so, you know, it's really, we're reaching a point where these jobs are, and it's just the nature of the job itself. It's not like there's some conspiracy. It's just the nature of this. It's becoming more entropic and evil and unpredictable, and you're not going to get much out of it other than a cool job title that makes you sound important.
Oh, you're the head of the marketing department for Beyond Meat. Wow, it's such a great job.
Oh yeah,
Are-
let's do. Okay. So yeah, I think there was that thing about Beyond Meat and Impossible, whatever, pays for putting their meat at stores. So the supermarkets just call these places up anytime they need more. So what you can do is anytime you're at like HEB or Walmart or what are other, Giant Eagle, I think, Lion, what are these other,
Food Lion. There's
Food
Ingles
Lion,
as
yeah,
well.
Food Lion, that's right. I like Food
It's
Lion when
called the
I've been
White
there.
Women's Shop, but yeah. And
um
Target. We can't forget about Target too.
yeah, if you're ever there, especially Target, you just take as much of the meat as possible and just put it throughout the store so that it will spoil, and they have to, Beyond Meat and Impossible Meat or whatever, have to pay to fill that up again, and just put them out of business. It'll be great.
So funny. I should do
Yeah.
that more. All right,
Yeah,
well, I
no, I
really
forgot
enjoyed
about it.
you.
I haven't been in the store in a minute, but I'm gonna start doing that. Like, take, if you can, if you go to the same store, then you might not want to be caught on camera like, hey, what's happening to all the Beyond Meat? Well, it's this guy who comes here every week and destroys it all. So maybe just do like 4 packages, because that's still like probably a bunch of money. Because
Hey, you're actually being more
expensive.
productive than 99% of men when you're doing that. So go ahead, start there doing that. You're actually
Yeah,
being
actually, that's true.
but...
That's true because that's assertive. That's assertive. It's like, yes, I'm taking this and I'm literally going to place it right here. What are you gonna do? Oh, I don't want it. I don't want it.
All right, well, I think I'll just like start reading some of these comments, and you can like comment on them before we head out here. Don't want to take up much more of your
Go ahead.
time.
Go
I
ahead.
know you have things to do, so
no, it's all good.
Let's go ahead and let's read some of these comments. Compound interest is exponential, and it's what keeps poor people poor and the rich people rich. Kids are not explained this in school.
Yes.
Well, no, their economics professor is like a failed male who's fat. Like this was mine. My economics teacher, he was fat. He was feminine. He didn't understand anything about economics. He was very just your standard Gen X type person who got a college degree to become a teacher, which is even more pathetic, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Which it's just so true.
Yeah.
For girls to find a husband, university might be worth the investment.
No, that's awful. That's awful advice, Bentley. I don't know if that's a joke, but like, no, college is actually slowly becoming more female. The way for women to find a husband is to just not live in suburbia. I mean, honestly, they're paying a bunch of money to get a husband that's gonna suck. But like, let's be real here. People who do go to college, they're already off at the wrong start, and it's their cross that they're bearing if they never get a husband or wife. Like that's their problem. And you know what? If they're going to college to find a man, the man won't want them because they have $50,000 in debt. I'm not paying for that shit. I don't have to.
Yeah, and they're going to be an awful, affluent.
Yeah, they're going to be awful.
Liberal.
You're going to have to re-brainwash them with the correct thoughts. Like I'm
and
not.
Women are already like very difficult to deal with as a man.
Yeah,
I mean, your own family.
They're chaotic. I mean, they're very chaotic, and they have a lot of feelings. And having the whole SJW shit tacked on, and debt, and horrible probably habits and opinions. No, this is a horrible place for women because they're impressionable. They're going to take on the stupidest opinions. I know what you're getting at, Spindley, and I'm not trying to be mean, but that is the worst place for women to go to. They'd be better off going to the gym to get a guy. Like, and even I hate the gym. But yeah, like there's avenues that they could meet guys. If that's what you're trying to get at, they can meet guys. Well, they can meet guys anywhere. You can go to church and meet guys. You know, they should already have a guy. You should already be married, honestly, in your late teens if you want to be a useful person, or early 20s. But that's just not the cards that we've been given.
No,
that's literally our problem. It's literally our problem.
Tuesday, FA Tuesday, there are those of us who are better off doing academics where most of us would be without.
Signora Panini.
That's an AA term. I'm not sure what that means, but
yeah, me neither. No, yeah, and that's actually like massive cope. I don't think so. I think that's like that would be like an academic agent opinion. Everybody needs to be an academic. No.
Well, not everybody can be an academic. People are inherently unequal.
Right. What institution are you going to go be an academic? But that's such a you need like 1 out of 1 million people to be an academic. You're not going to be an academic. I'm sorry. Like most people shouldn't be academics. They need to be useful. You can have the 5 guys who write good books and they can have that. But I'm sorry, but like wasting time writing all the time is not going to you're not providing to the world except providing more garbage for people to put into their brains that they probably don't need.
Yeah, it's very true. You're writing the books that we autistic are going to read, of course, but
yeah.
Spindley again says white males may have to become self-employed if they really go after equality of outcome. That's very true.
Agreed.
That's why they have affirmative action for most of these great office jobs.
Yeah.
Paul W. Hall, why waste tens of thousands of dollars reading books and getting a piece of paper while you can still read books and make something?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Tuesday again says life is a series of compromises. In a certain sense, yes, but depends on what kind you're compromising.
Yeah, it depends what you're compromising. Are you compromising your future to make money so that you can be reliant on a horrible system? I mean, is that what you want? Is that your cope? If that's the case, then okay, fine, understandable. You're coping, but you don't have to cope. You don't have to have the debt,
No, that is your choice. Nobody Klaus Schwab didn't
Yeah,
come over and force you. It didn't force you to go to
yeah,
college and get those student loans, which can never be. You can't. Student loans are not forgivable, so you have to pay those. Which is just even more better about college debt
yeah.
is that it's not. You can't go and declare bankruptcy.
No, 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 no.
There
Because
is
they're
no way
aging.
out.
I actually understand. Because I'm autistic about this. There's actually like the government buys that debt. It's government backed. So like, um, the idea is, I mean, it can't be defaulted on, and if you do, I mean, you probably just owe the government money now. Like, I mean, have fun. Like, you can't default on government debt because the government pays for it ultimately. So if you default, the government has to pay these people, and I don't know if the government wants to pay $100,000 for your useless fucking degree that you're now not going to do anything for. So now, I mean, essentially, you just go from being in debt to a financial institution to being in debt to like um, the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac / the IRS, whoever. It's probably be a government corporation that you're paying to, but yeah, yeah,
Very true. Tuesday FA Tuesday. I think all economic theories from 2019 or before are absolutely fucking useless. Economics is dead. I would agree. Most economics is pretty useless because the people don't know anything about economics because they got a college degree to become a
yeah.
professor in economics.
I th- I think economics reflect political opinions these days, and that's why they're
Except
so
Austrian
corrupted.
economics. That's based. Radlib isn't Austrian, so
Yeah,
we're going to make
Radlib's
an
great.
exception.
I like yeah, I like Radlib. I like Turnip. Both of them. I really really like Turnip. But yeah, I think being orthodox on economics is just never going to be helpful. You have to know, like, you have to look at the innards of the system and see how money works, and that's not going to have any like you'll be agreeing with both Chicagoans and Austrians. You're never going to agree with Keynesians because they're never right about anything. But the Chicagoans make more good points than people give them don't give them credit for, I guess.
Paul W. Hall says, I wouldn't go as far as saying they're completely useless, but I wouldn't say they're super useful either. I would
The
say
yeah,
it depends on the type of person too, and it depends on if they're actually smart and they're not susceptible to short-term gratification and they're good
yeah,
with money. Then
yeah.
it could be useful in that type
And
of
if you get a
person. That's very
scholarship,
rare, very
if you can get
rare.
a
But you're
if you can
actually
get a
going to find that.
scholarship, if you can get a scholarship to a STEM degree, and you're not going to be surrounded by like awful people who want to like destroy your life for saying a mean word, um, yeah, go for it. Why not? You know, there's still conservative universities, albeit like they're not prominent. Um, I know my
Whatever
coworker.
university you go to is going to be progressive. It doesn't matter. I mean, all
Yeah, essentially,
institutions.
they're still teaching bullshit. They're still, and you're going to be surrounded by like kids. I don't like that. The thing about college is it it
It
really
also
does. No matter
keeps
what it is,
you a
it
child
will.
mentally.
Yes, it prolongs childhood because now you're still kind of being taken care of, and you're still in the high school social dynamics of being popular or being edgy, or there's still a kid thing about it, and it's like I remember when I was like, I don't know, certain circumstances where I've been around young people at no, yeah, I did work at a college. That was the thing. A couple years ago, I did work at a college, and I felt weird because I was younger than a lot of the people there, but none of them had worked a day in their fucking life, and all they do is go to like classes, and yet they're still more of a kid than I am. It was really weird. I was like 20, 21, and I'd see people who were, 24, who just like they probably fucking like spend their time watching anime or something. It's like, geez, bro. I'm more of a man than you are. And I'm like, still basically, I mean, it's really weird feeling. So,
It's because of those single mommies, man. People don't understand how bad, how like just
yeah,
susceptible that to our society.
ban single moms, ban single
Yes,
moms,
we need families, actual
yeet
families.
them
But
to the moon. Yeah, we do.
Manoan
We do.
says the companies that have these useless jobs won't survive the great sorting that's coming unless they rid themselves of those positions. That's
Yeah.
very true. Obviously, the pause has to go for them to actually be a useful corporation, if they're actually
Yeah.
going to provide something valuable to society. And I think those institutions, like once the pause goes away, they're going to fade away and collapse. So
Well, and the system's just too financialized. There's too many people who, that are absolutely completely useless.
Spindley
Yeah.
says the dismal science, gay
That,
science. We like to call it gay. Actually, it's the correct
yeah.
term.
Yeah.
Paul W. Hall says, spent a year at college, biggest mistake of my life. Should have just have went straight to work with the job I had open for me. That I'm doing right now anyway. That's
Hmm.
very true. If you have that opportunity and they're offering you a great job as an electrician or something, maybe an apprenticeship at one of these, take it. Don't
Yeah.
listen to your single mommy. Like
Yeah.
we gotta stop listening to our mommies here. I think that's a big problem.
No, that is true. Yeah. Stop. Yeah. Your mom is never going to give you good advice on what to do with
We
your
like
life.
our moms, but like we shouldn't listen to her on everything. Women are
Yeah.
very
You
emotional.
literally just nod your head and say, "Okay, wow, yeah, that's no, I love you, mom." Literally just do that, but then take basically none of her advice.
Yeah, look where it got her. Anyway, Tuesday if a Tuesday says, I kind of hate being in my 20s. I think I'll enjoy being more in my 30s and perhaps my 40s even more. Well, if you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
smarter, yes. And if you actually, most people
Well,
don't because
yeah,
they
20s
remain that.
your 20s should be spent being useful and making money so that your 30s and 40s are
It's to
comfortable and you
set
can
you up
actually
for
enjoy
later
the
in
fruits.
life to actually raise a
Enjoy the
family.
fruits, yeah. I mean, I know people who like the best time of their life is like in their 40s or their 50s, and it's because they just prepared well
But
and
you
now
have
they
to
have
make that
land or a
investment
family.
in your
Hmm.
20s. So you have
Yep.
to put in the work, as we like to say. You
Dude,
don't get
and
to
then
skip out.
the worst thing is seeing old people who are like don't have any savings and still work. It's like, fuck, dude, that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, those were the boomers right there. You didn't prepare.
Hmm.
Tuesday after Tuesday says casual sex for people my age is whacking off at random times. So that's very true. It's a big problem. It's
Yeah,
also a result of being online way too much
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. Replace it with
not having
praying.
proper masculinity
Yeah,
in their
yeah,
lives.
yeah. Replace it with praying.
Yes, I will love that. Okay, that sounds horrible for a boy. Like we were talking about working at one of those jobs before, is what he mentioned. Paul W. Hall says success is 40 acres and some sheep. Very true. With
Yes,
7 children. You have to have
yes,
seven,
yes.
7 children, like Radlin
7 kids.
does. He has 8, so you have no
Dang,
excuse.
man.
He has 8.
And he's got twins too. He's got twins as well. So it's
Yeah,
pretty
you tell me
awesome.
who's more successful in life? The guy who worked his life at Walmart as an executive and has no children is just going to die alone. Who's more successful, him or
Yeah,
Radlin? It's
yeah.
Radlin, ultimately. Tuesday FA Tuesday says, I live in Texas and I'm thinking it's time to get the hell out. It's a climatic armpit and it's California expensive. I might as well move to Los Angeles. It's nicer there and almost no one there. Well, not yet. The collapse hasn't come yet.
Well, I
But
my issue with that opinion is you're not setting roots anywhere. So you keep blabbering about, well, I'm going to move here, move there. Like I've been guilty of this because I think Texas is also fucked. But I'm starting to understand. Well, one, I want more money if I ever do make the choice of leaving. But two, um, you need to set roots somewhere. One of the worst things about being an American, especially a white American, is we just move all the fucking time. Like pick a place and start a family, and it doesn't matter where it goes because you're never going to find a perfect place. Um, and now that we literally just banned abortion, a lot of those shitty people are going to start leaving. They're going to start coping and seething.
yeah, they're going to move back to
So
California. So I think that problem
yeah,
will sort itself out.
yeah,
Minoan says, I've had 4 different careers in my life so far. Lots of people
yeah.
have.
Yeah, I like Minoan's good.
We like Minoan, our favorite Fed.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Mutant
he's our
12
favorite.
says, Blue Collar Cash book is currently on my top to do reading list next week. I'll have to check that
Mm.
one out. It sounds
Mutant,
interesting.
yeah, Mutant reads a lot. He's very well read.
Same, I live in Texas too. Yeah,
Cool.
that's what happens
Both of
when you.
y'all. So Jacob and Tuesday, you need to join the basket weavers and go through the horrible political test so that we can start basket weaving. We've got like several people who are active, so start doing it.
That's what happens when all the Californians move there to Texas.
Hmm.
Minoan says, I have 2 degrees and the
I'll drop it in the
happiest
chat.
I've been in my job is my current blue collar job. That's very true. I think that's why lots of people
Nice.
aren't happy, even if they do get a good job, is because their job is just ultimately meaningless. It's not productive
Yeah,
for society.
it's not wholesome.
Mutant 12 says, subvert the plumbing industry to remove the fluoride from innocence. I agree. We do need people to do that, honestly. Klaus Schwab won't like me saying that, but yes, we do need to do that. I plan on doing it until I retire. No more white collar for me. That's very true.
Yes. Yeah.
Devil wears a
Stay
white suit
blue
with a
collar
white
folk.
collar. That's
Yeah.
very true. He also has a gay pride flag too. I think Oros would be a good salesman.
Thank you.
He could be, especially a
No,
car
I actually
salesman.
am. I've proven it. I actually am. I I sent the leak for the basket weavers thing. That's what that was.
Yurik
But
says, I wasted my time in community college and can't get a job related. That's very true. Especially if you got a useless degree, which is just pure stupidity at that point.
can I put the basket weavers thing in there for them?
Yeah, sure, go ahead. I don't mind.
All right, cool. All right.
Yurik says, college is only worthwhile if you can get into something more prestigious with more elite level people. Yes, but you have to have the IQ for that, and lots of people do not. And the skills, too. But I would
Yurik is
say
one
for
of
the
my
people who
earliest
can be,
viewers.
yes.
I like
We do
Yurik.
need people in the elite circles who are on our side. That's very true. Jacob says, true. Have someone in my family who's in the car sales business. Very competitive. Indeed. Pretty cool, says DC. That's very cool. Hey, DC. Deeply subversive. Well, I'm not going to disagree with that. And no one says, I stopped causing once for 2 years and thought, cursing. I stopped cursing for 2 years and thought I exploded. I really like cursing and seems necessary for my health. It might be a masculine thing. I don't know. It's probably part of the feminine programming.
It lets out, yeah.
Mutant 12 says, guitar makers. The market was hit hard during COVID. That's very true. I used to know a local business that went out of business. That was a music shop.
Luthiers.
Schizo collar. That's very true. We do like our space schizos. Sounds like censored and non. Reclaim the Carolinas. I live in the Carolinas, so we are going to reclaim them at some point.
I love North Carolina, yeah.
Tuesday says, first and foremost, you must return to the church. The Lord doesn't give up on his people. He takes you all the way. Very true. Most people didn't do that. But first, they need to get off Discord and touch grass to get outside to go to church.
Don't play video games.
Base cells. Very true. It's a waste of time. And it's addictive as well. Based cells. Cough, cough. Okay, I'm not going to start that drama here. It's not very useful. You will be a very useful engine. That's very true. Noble Crusader says, it's really interesting. I agree. Very good advice, honestly. I'm a millennial raised by boomers. All right. Relate more to Gen X than my own generation. I think a lot of us can relate to that, honestly. But that's because our Gen X is so fucked up as a generation, honestly. Honestly, fuck. It is kind of nerdy, I will say. Plumbing is going to be key for the rain. Maybe to remove the fluoride, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do have very decent teeth, though. I don't know if that's because of the fluoride.
No, fluoride is subversive. Going to the gym with women is subversive, I agree. Your wife is the only exception, and certain regulations must be in place. True, you need to know how to control the relationship and not let your life take control of that. That's the problem I see with most modern relationships, is that men aren't actually in charge, so that the women boss them around. They let themselves be emasculated. It's very sad to see. Mutant 12 says, sociologist Stephen Goldberg talks about this in Patriarchy. The conflict between men becomes subversive when instead of its glory, it's girls. I think there's something very deeply true about that. That's very evident. Food Lion has fresh pine berries now. Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Nice.
Was that the brand, the slogan, what? Afraid you might like it? Oh, yeah, it was. What was that one? Beyond Meat or whatever was?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Beyond Meat. Yeah.
Tuesday says, yeah, and the guy who recorded the ad was clearly gay, so it really wasn't about the soy burgers. Well, they always are gay. Honestly,
that's how white men are portrayed now. They're either gay or insane in commercials.
Blatantly so. Tuesday. He doesn't say everyone should be academics, but some of us are built for it. Not many, but some.
Yeah.
Wait, nope, forget that. I'm just going to call you FA. Okay. Get to the questions. The only person who I've kept in touch with since high school has been working since he was 14, I believe, got married to not that long ago as well. That's very cool. We like our lifelong friends, who are based. Very valuable basket weaver server.
Yeah.
Tuesday says, what will happen instead of people moving back is they'll just hijack the elections and make them Democratic state. Texas is gone, Florida's gone, GA is gone, NC is gone, Arizona's gone, and so forth.
I don't agree. Some states will
Well, I'm
stay
not
red,
so black pilled on that.
but well, it doesn't really fucking matter um what what states kind of swing as at this point, because your government is becoming less and less relevant to like your
And
personal life.
more incompetent as well. So the
Yeah, like
rule of
I mean, to be that like black pill, like what are you doing? Like, okay, well everything sucks. Okay, great. What are you gonna do about it Tuesday? Like, oh, it's all gone. I don't know. Move to fucking Alaska then. I mean, like even then, like Texas is gone, but like, what's it gone to? It's generally gone to Mexicans, so that's fine. Speak Spanish. If you don't like it, don't live here. I mean, it's like that. That's the change that's happening. There are demographic changes that won't be stopped, and you can either cope and seethe and bitch and moan, but the worst thing that you want to get rid of is pause, and that's just kind of like destroying itself. But I guess we're already helping with that.
Tuesday again says, if not by elections, the diaspora
The
GOPs
disparate,
will just cuck out.
the disparate GOPs will just
Not
will just cuck
diaspora,
out.
disparate GOPs will just
I
cuck out.
guess. I mean, if that's your opinion, that's fine. But like that's just okay. Enjoy black pills, I guess. Like, fuck, I don't care. Like states like Tennessee,
Well, if you want to do something,
Nebraska.
actually become part of it then and do
Yeah,
affect it at the
go
local
join it. Yeah,
level.
go
I
be
mean,
a
I had a
populist.
really good conversation with Joshua on my channel just about this for
Mhm.
young Zoomers who actually want to do something.
Yeah, Josh
So if
Hammer's
you want to
right.
help out in your
About a
state,
lot of
you
things.
know, and
Yeah.
get rid of those cucks, then you should become part of it and do something.
Yeah, be social. I think
All
this
right,
is
well,
the
41
opinion.
minutes over the
Yeah.
hour, so I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
you
yeah.
have things to do. So do you have
I
anything you'd
have
like
a
to
show in
show before
40
we head
minutes.
out?
Yeah. Yeah, follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Substack, Ourospost, tributary.com if you want to add your business to our website. And yeah, I'm about to do a stream in 40 minutes with someone who was in the military and about why the military is paused and gay and bureaucratic, and what might we hope for in the future with it. Man, dude, Tuesday just can't stop being black-pilled, bro.
He's our favorite doomer. We like our doomers.
That's
here.
fine. I've seen Tuesday before. I think I've also argued before, like with his black pilling chat comments. Not like
I would
not
just
trying
say
to
go
diss. Not
outside
I'm
more.
not trying to diss, but like you are black pilled, and like I don't, my homies aren't black pilled normally, So if you're black pilled,
Black
that's
pill people
fine.
don't really
But I
achieve
don't.
anything.
Yeah, they don't do anything with their time. Like they literally make excuses to live shitty lives. So have fun with that, dog. But even then, it's like, who gives a fuck about what like Democrat or Republican? In terms of like the changes that are being made don't matter, because you aren't going to live in like black socialist, like that they see this thing as like the Democrats are going to take over America and they're going to elect a socialist and just destroy everything. And it's just like it's not that simple. It's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that goofy. And it's like you have avenues to be useful in your own life. Like, stop having a reason to just, I don't know, have like complaints. Like, stop complaining so fucking much. That's really like the worst thing you could do with your soul or your time.
That's probably very true. Last comment, and we have to get out of here.
Yes.
12 says, I have a wife and I can't be blackmailed. That's very true, but you might have to have kids as well. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's kind of pointless.
All right.
So anyway, check out Ourospost links in the description. Check him out. If you enjoyed this live stream, I enjoyed the conversation. Like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it, and have an excellent